The value of youth baseball. In an age where youth participation in sports is declining, partaking in the sport of baseball offers unparalleled benefits. The date was November 2nd, 2016. It was Game 7 of the 2016 World Series, a contest between the Chicago Cubs and Cleveland Indians. My friends and I had stared at the TV in utter disbelief as the Cubs had just squandered a 4-1 lead and were one run away from being defeated. Growing up in Chicago and playing baseball, the Cubs were always my favorite sports team. I still usually go to about 5 games per year. For most of my early youth, the Cubs were laughably bad as they failed to make the playoffs from 2009 to 2014. Following the arrival of a new general manager and team manager, the Cubs broke through in 2015 and were only 4 outs away from making their first World Series since 1945. While most were impressed that they even made it as far as they did, expectations were very high heading into the 2016 season. I'd only ever dreamed of the Cubs being in the World Series, which made it hard to comprehend that they were only 4 outs away from winning it, yet they had somehow managed to replenish their seemingly insurmountable lead. Following the conclusion of the ninth inning, it began to heavily rain in Cleveland, leading to a rain delay. While we were initially silent, as time progressed, me and my friends realized that the game was well within reach. We began to play music and get excited. The mood in the room did a complete 180. We felt that we could truly win. The rain delay had given us and the team a time to reset. Following the passage of the rain, the game resumed and the Cubs scored 2 runs. This meant that the Cubs just needed 3 more outs to win their first World Series since 1908. Coming in to try and close the game was 25-year-old rookie Carl Edwards Jr. While the Indians were able to get the tying run at second base and a winning run in the batter's box, the Cubs held on and won their first World Series in 108 years. Unable to properly think, me and my friends ran out onto the street, celebrating what we all thought was impossible. The memory of that night will stick with me for the rest of my life. Youth sports participation continues to decline, most recently reaching a low of 38% this past year. According to a story, the recent downturn in participation can be attributed to COVID-19, an increased cost, the hyper-competitive nature of sports, and an increase in the amount of time one must commit to sports. These changes disproportionately affect economically disadvantaged youth, as sports are often seen as a way to keep these at-risk youth off the streets and help set them on the right path. The decrease in youth sports participation is also worrisome because of the role that sports play in socialization. With many schools being virtual the past few years, children are spending more time ever in the house and less time interacting with their peers. While it is still being studied, little or delayed interaction at such a young age could cause long-term social issues. While the decline has been more pronounced in recent years, it is part of a long-term trend. Sports participation has steadily decreased since the turn of the century. One of the many factors I did not previously mention is the rise of social media and video games. While it is an outlier, participation in my town's local baseball league has actually been increasing. I am a member of the board of directors and social media manager, so every year it is my job to look at registration numbers and find ways to increase them. This year, as of last Monday, we had an additional 20 people compared to 2021, and that was on top of the 40 more people we had at the beginning of 2021. While it's certainly anecdotal, and there could be other factors at play, youth sports participation isn't declining universally, and there is variance depending on what sport you're talking about. While all youth sports offer benefit to children, baseball's unique ability to create friendship, teach players the value of being a good teammate and team player, and the knowledge and statistics component of the game make it stand out from all other youth sports. To start off, while nearly all youth sports help create friendship, baseball's unique structure breeds friendship. According to an article from the Baltimore Sun, participating in youth sports leads to friendship based on the common characteristics that they entail. Players spend hours upon hours practicing with each other. Teammates fight with each other. Teammates grow together, laugh with each other, cry with one another. Whether you just won the game or made the game losing error, who's the first person you talk to? Your teammates. While for individually sports games like golf or cross country, you are often just competing against yourself, the vast majority of youth sports require individuals to rely on their teammates for both their own success and their team's success. Out of the characteristics that foster friendship, baseball is structured perfectly to help facilitate teammates bonding. Baseball has the most games out of 4 major sports, with Major League Baseball having an incredible 162 games per year, amounting to nearly half the days of the year. Baseball requires significant reliance on teammates, whether it is a pitcher relying on his outfielder to catch a ball, a third baseman needing his first baseman to scoop a low throw in the dirt. With so many games, baseball also usually requires significant travel, which helps lead to teammates spending time in each other's company even when they are not on the field together. Well, as anecdotal, I have met nearly all my closest friends while playing baseball. We shared common interests, and because we spent so much time together, we all easily bonded. We are still friends today, showing just how impactful baseball has been to my social life. While most youth sports help teach players the value of being a good teammate or a team player, the strategic nature of baseball helps set it apart. Baseball is much more of a team sport compared to the majority of other team sports. When it comes to basketball, whichever team is the best overall player will oftentimes be the victor. Often in basketball, the star player will shoot the ball 40 times and have 40 points, while the rest of the team collectively will only put up 40 shots, meaning one player is taking 50% of the shots. This helps breed a culture of individuality where the team's success is dependent on one player, not a lot. This can lead to scapegoating and disgruntled teammates who feel they aren't getting the ball enough, the team is two-dimensional, or a host of other criticisms. The only position in baseball that one can make the argument holds disproportionate influence on a team's fortune is a pitcher. That said, starting pitchers only pitch once every 5 days, so their influence is relegated to only 20% of a team's games. According to Fangraphs, the average MLB starting pitcher in 2019 only lasted for 5 1/3 innings. That is roughly half of one 9-inning game, so starting pitchers, the most individual aspect in baseball, are literally only in 10% of all games. The sacrifice in baseball cannot be found in any other sports. For those who don't know, the sacrifice is when a player will purposely try and get themselves out in hopes to advance a runner. Whether it is a sacrifice fly, a sacrifice bunt, or even just trying to hit the ball on the right side of the infield to advance a runner to second base, players will sometimes purposely try and fail. Why would they do this? To try and improve their team's chances of winning. Do NBA players ever purposely miss shots? Do NHL players ever purposely miss shots? The act of intentionally failing is unique to baseball and helps really show how the fortune of the team hinges on the ability of teammates to help each other out just for the sake of advancing the team's chances of winning. How do all these aspects make baseball players the best teammates? When you depend so heavily on others, you need to have faith and trust them. If you don't trust your teammates, many will overextend themselves and try to play hero ball instead. There is less pressure on individual members of a team to perform at a certain level. The idea of teamwork can be used when completing a task or working a job. If everyone works together and has the same end goal, things are more likely to be successful. You're working as a team after all. While most sports require at least some degree of knowledge and use of statistics, the extent that baseball does is unparalleled. Baseball requires constant awareness in the field depending on the situation. Depending on the score or location of runners on bases, one must constantly know prior to the pitcher pitching the ball where the ball needs to be thrown. Fielders need to know what base they should cover back up. Under no circumstance should a fielder stand still on any play whatsoever. Those in the field should adjust their positioning depending on a batter's hitting splits. If this batter hits more balls to right field, they should shade to the right. If a batter hits more balls to the left side, they should shade to the left. The analytical age of baseball has ushered in unprecedented levels of stats into the game. According to an article from StatsReform.com, the widespread acceptance and usage of new stats that measure effectiveness, like wins above replacement, WAR, and defensive runs saved, DRS, has completely changed the game. Players that used to be seen as a gold standard and in a certain craft have in some cases been exposed to be rather mediocre or even downright awful. According to Baseball Reference, throughout his career, Derek Jeter's defense actually cost his team 9.4 wins, the worst number in MLB history, as a matter of fact. This runs contrary to Jeter's gold glove image, as throughout his career he won an incredible 5 gold gloves, despite having a negative defensive WAR in most of the years that he won the award. The widespread usage of spray charts has led to opposing teams to pinpoint where players are most likely to hit the ball. This has disrupted the previous thinking on shifting, as shifting has now become less right-handed versus left-handed and more tailored around each individual hitter. It's really going to vary on a whole multitude of factors, whether it's a home run hitter, a line drive hitter, ground ball hitter, it truly just depends. For some players, this has led to massive discrepancies what their batting average is expected based on how hard they hit the ball on their average time at the plate. So, how do these uses of knowledge and statistics benefit youth baseball participants? Well, players must constantly think, which helps keep them alert and ready. Critical thinking skills benefit significantly as logic and reasoning are used. Some other sports tend to get repetitive. The constant evolving nature of baseball helps prevent kids from feeling like they're a robot, shooting a basketball constantly, shooting a puck. It kind of switches things up because you have to think critically. In conclusion, while all youth sports offer benefits to children, baseball's unique ability to create friendship, teach players the value of being a good teammate, team player, and the knowledge and statistics component of the game make it stand out from all other youth sports. From a personal standpoint, the role that baseball has had in my life is immeasurable. I can safely say that I would not be the same person today if I had not partaken in the game as just a little 5-year-old. While it may not be for everyone, the sport truly does offer unparalleled benefits that one will utilize for the rest of their lives, whether that's in the office place, in social life, however you want to go about it. I use the skills to the present day. Even if a child is not very interested in sports, it is worth at least giving a baseball a shot. That child may end up loving it and writing a speech about it 15 years down the road. Thank you.